Hello, my Built for Thousand Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, hope it gets better from here. We are back with another That Chapter. This one is titled The Disturbing Case of Cosmo DiNardo. 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 All right. I'm excited for today's story. Let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead, turn the mics down low, put on something comfy, cup with something special. Let's get intrigued. I'm intrigued. DiNardo. DiNardo.
Hey
DiNardo.
you and welcome. My name is Mike and in this here video we're going to Pennsylvania. Which I think might be the first time we've gone there one of these old videos. Is it? I think so. Can we cross that off the list? This is the story of the memorably
You can cross Pennsylvania off the bucket list. Yes! Many people have said that in their life. First time.
named Cosmo DiNardo, who does sound like a Marvel supervillain. The year 2017, the place, Bucks County, Eastern Pennsylvania. One strange week in July. So, if you're up for it, let's get into it, you and I. Sure may as well.
Why the hell not?
Bucks County in eastern Pennsylvania has a population of over 600,000 people. It's filled with parks, golf courses. To the east, you're smack dab between Philadelphia and Trenton.
That's too damn many people.
To the west,
In one place.
you're in some beautiful scenic and historic areas. But we're not going to those. We're going to a hot, sunny July in 2017 when over the space of 3 days, 4 young men mysteriously vanished. The first to vanish was 19-year-old Jimmy Patrick.
By mysterious, do we mean mysterious like the mysterious type mysterious, or mysterious like UFO ET take home? Did ET take him home? Did he?
On the 5th of July, it was a Wednesday, he left his home that he lived in with his grandparents in Newtown Township at 6 p.m. He told his granny he was popping out to get some grub, wouldn't be long. However, by 2 a.m. there was no sign of him.
Is that
His
Granny?
granny texted asking where he was. 22 times she texted, to which she got no reply. And he never showed up for work the next morning. The next day, when Jimmy's grandparents called the police, they got a half-assed reply. A brief report was
It was the lady behind him in that picture. Y'all seen her, right? I guarantee it. I guarantee it. She looks shifty. See? Looks shifty. She's staring right at him, too. I don't know who it is. I'm just bullshitting, but it'd be funny, though. Let me have my phone.
times she texted, to which she got no reply.
Sir.
And he never showed up for work the next morning. The next day, when Jimmy's grandparents called the police, they got a half-assed reply. A brief report was filed. They got a, he'll turn up eventually. Don't worry about it, kind of answer. Then 19-year-old Dean Finocchiaro vanished the following Friday. Dean was a troubled kid, had a few run-ins with the law. He both bought and sold drugs, and his family were concerned about how he was turning out. He also struggled with depression and had checked into a mental health facility, but by July 2017, he seemed to be getting his stuff together. That day, the 7th of July, Dean told his family he was heading out to meet a friend, and he was last seen at about 6:30 p.m. in Middletown Township. His phone was off when his family tried to get in contact. They contacted the friends they knew of, and no dice, and a missing persons report was filed for him too. That same day, the 7th of July, at about 6 p.m., 22-year-old Mark Sturgis from Bensalem told his dad he was going to meet up with his longtime bro, 21-year-old Thomas Mayo. Thomas and Mark, right, they both worked together at a construction company owned by Mark's dad. But they were last seen that Friday. They never showed up for work on the Saturday. Other than Mark and Thomas being best friends, the 4 boys didn't know each other. And it was very startling that 4 young men around the same age would vanish within a few days of each other.
Yeah. don't really have like no resemblance to like each other either. Hmm, that's weird.
Three of them on the same day. When Mark and Thomas were no-show on Saturday, Mark's dad began to worry after he couldn't get in touch with him via mobile phone as it went straight to voicemail. He called Thomas's parents hoping maybe he was with them or they knew something. They were in the same boat, they knew jack shit and were equally worried. A police report was filed and the search began. The very next day, Sunday, Mark's car was found at an outdoor shopping centre about 30 minutes from where he lived. And wouldn't Thomas's car be found that same day? How they found Thomas's car was through one of the other missing fellas. See, as they went through Dean Finocchiaro's friends list,
Do what? Y'all are hearing the same shit I'm hearing, right? Like, what?
they happened upon one they couldn't contact. And they learned this friend owned a farm, not far from where Mark's car was found. On a hunch, they went up there. It was a little dilapidated, but in a shed, they found Thomas's car. The title and keys of the car were there, which was odd, as was Thomas Tom's diabetic kit, something he wouldn't leave behind and would be in big trouble without.
Oh shit.
And the fourth missing person, Jimmy Patrick, his cell phone was pinged to that same location. So
Looking
there's
good.
4 missing guys, and clues about all of them are leading to this exact same place. A guy on Dean's friends list, Mark's car found there, Thomas's car found there, Jimmy's phone traced there.
Good afternoon, Jim and Rahel. Authorities did just meet at this media staging area to give us an update on these disappearances. The district attorney here in Bucks County spoke, saying all of the county resources are being dedicated to, quote, returning these men home safely. Now, last week is when the 4 men went missing here in Bucks County. Those men include 2 teenagers, and it spawned this joint police investigation with local and state police from Plumstead to Middletown townships. The missing men are Jimmy Tarpatrick, who was last seen on July 5th and reported missing after he never showed up to work that day. 2 days later, then Dean Finocchiaro went missing, and the last reported sighting of him was getting into a vehicle near Finocchiaro's home in Langhorne. Also on July 7th is when Mark Sturgis and Tom Mayo went missing. They were seen in the Doylestown area together. Authorities overnight located the car of one of the missing men and then focused attention on a house along Aquatong Road. Police are
So, other than within a few days of each other and being within close proximity, and they all probably live in relatively within a very small area, they didn't know each other, but they all, well, other than the two, did someone know all of them? Like, a friend of a friend of a friend type shit? And he just didn't. He was like, I need a fresh start. It's just weird. This is weird, right? This is weird.
not saying what they have found at that home or how it is relevant to this mysterious disappearance of 4 men here in Bucks County.
There being a farm owned by the DiNardo family. The DiNardo family had a son, Cosmo DiNardo. He was the one on Dean Finocchiaro's friends list. Cosmo DiNardo's story is really about how systems can fail and how those failures can create monsters.
Was he angry cause of his name, DiNardo? Cosmo DiNardo. I would. That. Cosmo. I could handle the name Cosmo. I would probably actually enjoy the name Cosmo. It's the DiNardo part. I don't.
Cosmo was born to a wealthy family in 1997 and grew up in Bensalem. His parents, Antonio and Sandra, owned multiple companies, a concrete company, a delivery one so they could both produce and ship concrete, and they were also part of the good old game known as real estate. In 2005, the DiNardos purchased a 90-acre property in Salisbury, some 20 miles from Bensalem. It became a vacation spot for the family that included riding ATVs, deer hunting, and of course, shooting guns.
Shooting guns.
Cosmo attended a private elementary school in Bensalem. He was a good kid, happy-go-lucky. He even got Peacemaker of the Month because he was, I guess, so easygoing. Good for him. He then went to prep school.
Hold on 1 second, everyone. Sorry about that, everyone. Someone was knocking on my door. Had to go answer it real fast. Dogs start going crazy. What the hell? Alright, let's get back at it.
And was captain of the Bucks County Bears until he had to call it quits on football due to several concussions and a neck injury. Now, concussions, are something that's come to the fore over the last decade or so as we learn.
I've had a few. I got them whenever I played football in school. They ain't nothing to mess with. Bro, at all. In any way, shape, or form.
More and more about their effects on the brain and brain injury. We're still a long way off.
Yeah.
But, we're learning more about them. It's become a big thing in football. So Cosmo had quite a few, and I think it's relevant. Now, Cosmo was intelligent and had a high IQ. He got a scholarship to Arcadia University. He was a biology major, maybe thinking about becoming an orthodontist, fix up those gnashers. But there was a dark side to Cosmo. See, he would have about 30 encounters with the police.
Holy shit.
Quite a few. Nothing that would result in his arrest, though.
Give me like 2 encounters with the police, my ass gonna be in jail for a minute. That's just how it goes for me, bro.
You think that, 30 times would kind of build up, but he did come from a wealthy family, so there were concerns over his mental
It's not who you know, it's who you blow. Gotcha.
health, domestic incidents, his alleged improper riding of an ATV, traffic citations. So although there were quite a few, maybe he was just a rich kid who thought, the rules didn't apply to him. But in 2015, there was a turning point. That's really when the, shit hit the fan. He'd broken up with his girlfriend, and a plan to become a Navy SEAL hadn't worked out. Don't know how he got from orthodontist to Navy SEAL, but there you go. In February 2016, he was diagnosed with a major depressive disorder. He didn't complete the second semester of his freshman year at Arcadia University and dropped out. And in May 2016, Cosmo was involved in an ATV riding accident at the farm in Salisbury.
Damn.
He was picked.
Bro, I have been in an ATV accident. It sucks. Mine was not bad at all. More embarrassing than anything. Painful after the embarrassment wore off. But some of them can get horrendous, bro. Like death kind of shit. Gotta be careful.
Under the ATV for hours, fractured bones
Oh shit.
and down his leg. He would be in a wheelchair for a while after, but
I think that, like I said, they can get bad.
the most important injury was to his head.
Oh god.
He had bleeding in his brain and his frontal lobe
Ooh.
was damaged. The frontal lobe helps govern personality and impulsivity. So if it's damaged,
So it's like, was it like a kind of a half-assed lobotomy? Oh, that poor motherfucker.
it's like someone cut the brakes, if you will. Inside voice becomes
Reasoning and judgment, organization and planning, problem solving, regulation of emotion and mood, including reading and emotions of others, personality, expression, motivation, including evaluating rewards. Dude, pleasure, happiness, impulse control, controlling social behavior. So, yeah, it was literally like he had a lobotomy.
outside voice. Anger, aggression may be hard to control. What happened to Cosmo? His his switch done got flipped. Soon after the accident, he started using K2, a synthetic cannabinoid that can have some unpredictable effects. So now we're in doubly what's going to happen territory, because he wasn't getting any real help for his brain damage. And now he's using a synthetic drug that could mess with how he saw the world, which was already messed up. But everybody around him was like, he's fine. Don't worry about it. He'll be grand. In July 2016, police got a call for help, not far from the DiNardo vacation home/farm. Sandra, Cosmo's mother, and Cosmo got into a fight that turned physical. Cosmo bit his mother's arm and gave her a black eye, just before jumping out of the car, limping out into traffic, and attempting to get into another woman's car, claiming he was trying to escape a kidnapping. He thought his mother was a Russian spy, and that he suspected she was poisoning his food, so he refused to eat her cooking. Should have been a bit of a giveaway to how he was doing. When the police arrived, Cosmo was handcuffed and he was admitted to a mental health institution. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, schizoaffective disorder, and schizophrenia. He said the voices in his head were telling him to be violent. He'll start listening to them. Cosmo would be institutionalized 3 times in 5 months, and he was put on different medications. However, as he was only institutionalized for brief periods at a time, and was on and off his meds, it did sweet fuck all.
I don't know exactly his terminology on what I'm guessing. It didn't do fuck. It didn't do shit. It didn't do damn. It did nothing. It did nothing at all.
In December, he attacked his dad, Antonio, with a brick. And so, as you can imagine, the family started to become quite worried about his mental state. Yeah. A few months later, in early 2017...
Going after your father with a brick will do it every damn time.
He was arrested while driving, as he had a shotgun in his car with ammo. You'd think, leaving guns around a person in his state would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Just a thought. He was arrested and charged with second-degree felony, weapons charge. As a person who has been involuntarily admitted to a mental institute, he had no right to carry a firearm. But those charges would be dismissed due to a paperwork issue. So...
I did not mean to just bust out like that. Free to go. Why? Clerical error. Fuck my life.
You can see quite a few things were let slip, as his condition deteriorated, and it will continue to deteriorate. The doctors even thought his bipolar disorder was in remission, even though he was taking his meds every other day instead of every day. His medication was reduced. The issues he was going through psychologically weren't, though, so... And it was around then, right, that 2 things happened. Both of which led to what happened. One was he began running a drug business, and the second was his friendship with one Sean Kratz. Sean Kratz was Cosmo's second cousin, and let's just say he was probably the worst person Cosmo could have been around.
Oh.
Not long before...
He's one of them cousins. We all got one of them cousins. They're good for a fun night out, but other than that, you hang around them more than a couple of days, you're probably going to prison for a while. We all got those cousins.
The gruesome twosome stuck up a friendship.
If you don't, you are that cousin. Just remember that.
Sean was investigated for his part in an attempted murder in Philadelphia that left a man in a wheelchair. Sean had been shot in retaliation and walked with a limp. Now, Cosmo's parents, they were worried about Cosmo, obviously, and they were unaware of his new best friend's past, because they were just happy Cosmo had a friend, because it seems like he had no friends whatsoever. But they really should have picked up on what Cosmo was posting on social media.
What? Don't fuck with me. Right? Don't fuck with me. Around get smoked. Hashtag gang gang. Riddle me, Chris. Miss you, cuz. Hope you're okay. Who's riddle me, Chris? Your bro's messed up too. Yo, you good? Whoa, hope you're okay. Yo, you good? So I guess he went out and picked a fight with someone in this picture. Looks like he got bitch slapped. Damn. About the weed, bro. Okay. Hey, babe. Not your babe. Haha, what's up, girl? Hello, what's... No, let me move my face. What's good with... In the room next door, want to talk to her. I hate her. Chat's good, baby G. Hit me up. I love you. I want to make babies ASAP. Let's have sex tonight. I'll meet you at your place. Wherever you want, I guess. Okay, seriously, let's not have sex. What the fuck?
So we got all that, and of course this selfie.
If you ever jump me as a dead man.
Remarkable, no one reported it. And then in July 2017, 4 men disappeared.
I reported it because that would have creeped the fuck out of me. I'm like, what is wrong with this motherfucker? I'd be scared for everyone around him just looking at his face.
The clues they left behind, leading them to the DiNardo farm and to Cosmo himself.
I can tell you for sure that this investigation, of course, is a priority for us and for every agency involved, and we've been working round the clock on it, will not rest until we know exactly what happened.
Yeah, District Attorney in Bucks County saying the police presence that we now see in Soulberry Township, all of the resources in the county being dedicated. They're searching a home over there. Again, not saying what they are looking for and what they are finding. Police being very hush-lipped on this investigation, saying only they're focused on
they're finding dead people.
Returning these men home safely. They held the news
Are they dead?
Conference here just a few minutes ago to really make a plea to the public and ask people with any information, anyone with tips, to come forward.
Did old Cosmopolitan lose his mind and just start killing people?
The county's district attorney immediately directed the search team to the 90-acre DiNardo farm, bringing in all-terrain vehicles and heavy equipment for what was now considered a criminal investigation. And on Monday, the 10th of July, Cosmo DiNardo was labeled a person of interest. He told the police, "Sure, yeah, okay, I was with Dean. That's the one person I was with, the day he went missing. But they got into some kind of fight and he left Dean at the side of the road. After that, he did a bit of DL fishing, was never near the DiNardo farm." The shotgun charge from a few months previous that was dismissed, well, they needed something to bring Cosmo in, you know, so that was refiled. Cosmo was arrested on those weapons charges.
Don't you love how they can do that, though?
But then, you know, the next day, his dad, Antonio, paid his bail. It was 10% of $1 million. Cosmo was out. That didn't last long.
10% of $1 million, still a shit ton of money. My dad had been like, fuck you, but I don't give a damn. I don't love you that much. You know how they say you can't put a price tag on love? He did. That'd been exactly what my father would have said. I 100% verbatim. That's exactly what he would have said.
4 Pennsylvania men who mysteriously vanished are alive. A huge search is underway on this farm north of Philadelphia. Now, it belongs to the parents of a person of interest, Cosmo DiNardo. He was released last night after posting 10% of his $1 million bail for an unrelated weapons charge. DeMarco Morgan is outside the property in New Hope with how the
I understand he hates his little widow's peak thing there. I hate it. I hate it. I hate how it's shaved down and you can still see it. But oh, just own it, bro. Just own it. Who gives a fuck? Walk around looking like Count Chocula. Don't deny it. Just that looks awful.
strange disappearances that rocked the community. DeMarco, good morning.
Good morning, Nora. The district attorney says the search at this farm is the largest of its kind in the county's history. He hasn't revealed why they are focusing on this location, but he's confident investigators are on the right track. This picturesque part of Pennsylvania is one of the safest in the state, but the disappearance of the 4 young men has shocked the community.
It's frightening. I have a 20-year-old and I'm concerned. What happened to these boys?
Nearly 100
They're
state
dead.
and local police have
They're
been
dead.
joined by FBI agents and U.S. Marshals in the all-out search. They are using everything from hand-sifting tools to heavy equipment, says Bucks County District Attorney Matt Weintraub.
It's 90-some acres, and we're going through it with the equivalent of a fine-tooth comb.
Families of the missing have been keeping vigil on the edge of the farm. Cadaver dogs have been brought in, but no human remains have been found. Investigators are clinging to the possibility the missing men are still alive.
I have hope. I think that it's very important to hang on
They
to
did.
hope until there is no
They
room
did.
left for it.
They did.
19-year-old Jimmy Patrick, a Loyola University freshman, disappeared last Wednesday. Dean Finocchiaro, 19, Mark Sturgis, 22, and Tom Mayo, 21, vanished 2 days later. 20-year-old Cosmo DiNardo, who was arrested Monday on an unrelated charge, has not been named a suspect. Police say he suffers from mental illness.
Meanwhile, a massive search was underway on the DiNardo property. However, Cosmo being out didn't last long either, and he was arrested. Again, for different charges.
Are you fucking kidding me? Just be done with him. Just put him away. Just bug it. He just wants to be there.
A friend of Cosmo's came forward, saying that Cosmo had sold Thomas's car, the one they found, for $500. Cosmo was then charged with stolen property and theft. He was set on $5 million bail.
A person of interest was just arraigned on new charges.
That is correct. Cosmo DiNardo was arraigned inside the judge's chambers behind me just about 50 minutes ago. He's currently on his way to the Bucks County Correctional Facility. As we show you some video, a picture of him. This time bail was set at $5 million cash. That's the highest bail amount the judge has ever set. It means the family cannot bond him out at 10% of that amount, which is what happened yesterday when he was being held on $1 million for a weapons charge, and his family came up with $100,000. DiNardo now stands accused of taking the car of one of the 4 missing men and trying to sell it to a friend for $500.
No getting out this time. Especially
Damn.
when, on Thursday, the 13th
That's shady and slick all at the same time. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
of July, the remains of 3 men were recovered from a pig roaster that had been dug in a 12-foot deep grave.
Damn.
Investigators uncovered a mass grave that contains multiple human remains. The more than
Told you.
12-foot deep hole is on a 90.
Told you. Told you. I told you. I told you. Who told you? I told you.
Acre farm.
This is a homicide, make no mistake about it.
The bodies were identified.
His hope went whoosh. I am hopeful that this is a homicide. I don't know. Everything just went to shit, people.
as Mark, Thomas, and Dean. No sign of Jimmy, the first
Oh,
person
shit.
to go missing. Yeah, and Cosmo confessed to the murders. The next day, Sean Kratz too was arrested and charged with 3 counts of homicide. Officials said that the murders sprang from 3 separate deals,
Oh.
right, where Cosmo and Sean were gonna sell the 4 young men between a couple of ounces and a couple of pounds of the wacky tobacco. The missing young men were buyers. In fact, Cosmo knew Jimmy from prep school, and he knew Dean from ATV riding. But they had no explanation for, why at the time a few, minuscule little drug deals, why that could lead to this. During his confession, Cosmo told the investigators that on July...
You usually don't want to kill your customers. Your client base is your bread and butter. You don't want to murder them. It messes with your profit. You gotta have your overhead, bro.
5th, he agreed to sell Jimmy Patrick 4 pounds of marijuana for $8,000.
You were selling drugs, right? I was middlemaning deals with drugs. This particular deal, I was not making any money. I was just, getting him a good price on a large quantity of marijuana.
Cosmo drove to Jimmy's house, picked him up, and then drove Jimmy to the farm. There, Cosmo said, Jimmy admitted he only had $800, and so Cosmo offered to sell him a shotgun instead. The gun sale did not happen. Instead, Cosmo shot Jimmy dead.
So we get there, said, okay, well, let me see, the 8,000, let me see the money. So I gotta count the money. There's $800 there. So I'm like, dude, if you don't have the money, like, this is horrible. This is not good for me. I said, well, I could sell you a gun. So we get out of the truck, I hand him a shotgun. He goes to shoot it, and I shoot him. Alright, so after you shoot him, I go get the backup, dig the hole, said a prayer, put him in the hole.
That was the beginning of...
So callous about it too, bro. Like, it was just Tuesday and he had to put the pig down. Like, fuck. There's something wrong with that boy's frontal lobe. Definitely.
Cosmo's killing spree with Sean helping him out. On July 7th, 2 days later...
He's a weasel face. You know.
They drove to Dean's home to sell him weed, but decided on the way that they would rob him and murder him instead. Sean and Cosmo picked him up in Middletown Township and drove him to the farm as well. Earlier that day, Cosmo had taken his mother's hidden handgun, a Magnum. When they got to a barn on the farm, Dean was shot in the back of the head several times with this gun, allegedly by Sean. After he was down, Cosmo shot him 1 or 2 more times in the back of the head.
How many fucking times do you need to be shot in the back of the head with a fucking Magnum? I don't think once. I think once would suffice.
I go to meet up with Dean. Why are you going to meet up with Dean? The drug deal. This is pre-planned? Yeah. What's he to buy off you? Quarter pound of weed. I don't have a quarter pound. I have 2 ounces. So we picked Dean up. Now this was a robbery. He was gonna, rob him in the woods by himself on a quad and kill him. He did. So we come back into the barn. We're looking at the Vespa I had, and when we stopped looking at that, Dean turns around to go walk out. When I went to turn, I just hear a bunch of shots go off. Dean goes down, face down, dead. I took the gun from Sean and I shoot Dean, I think once or twice. I don't know how many times I shot him. Why? Was he not dead? No, he was dead. Okay. But I just to finish, I just shot him. I'm not lying.
Double tap. You gotta make sure. Leg twitch. Or you're just shooting dirt. There's not even a head left. It's just neck and blah, blah, blah. Leg twitch again. Double tap that shit. We've all seen the movie.
He was dead. His head was split the hell open. His brain, you probably found it. His brain was in the barn.
His body was then wrapped in a blue tarp.
And he says this like it's just whatever. The boy got something wrong with his frontal lobe for sure.
And placed into a metal tank he called the pig roaster, an old oil tank that had been converted into a cooker. And they weren't quite done yet. That same day, another meeting was arranged to sell weed, this time to Thomas Mayo. Cosmo headed out to meet him at the shopping centre where Mark's car would be found, while Sean stayed at the farm. Once they met up, it turned out to Cosmo's surprise that Thomas was not alone. He was in the company of his best buddy, Mark Sturgis. Cosmo convinced them to head over to the farm where the transaction would be carried out. Mark got into Thomas's car and they followed Cosmo to the farm. Upon arriving, the boys sensed that something was off, and as soon as they turned their backs to Cosmo and Sean, Cosmo shot Thomas first, who fell to the ground, screaming.
Damn.
He said something's not right. So, when they turn their backs on me, I shoot Tom in the back, drop him. Mark's like, what the? He was such a big kid, I loaded the gun on him.
Cosmo then turned the gun on Mark, who
What
was
the
killed trying
fuck?
to run away. But Thomas wasn't dead.
He was such a big kid, I unloaded that clip in him, bro. Bro, this dude is killing me. Like, what the hell?
bullet had hit his spine. He was paralyzed on the ground. And Cosmo was out of ammunition.
So, he's paralyzed. He goes, I can't feel my legs, I can't feel my legs. I went and grabbed the machine, because he's screaming now. I mean, I'm surprised the neighbors didn't yell. Why are you shooting him again? I'm out of bullets. Screaming, going crazy. Sean's like, got his head in his hands. I grab the backhoe. You know, he sees that coming, just shuts the fuck up, and I just run him over.
Afterwards, Cosmo used the same machinery to put both bodies into the same tank that held Dean's body, and they tried to burn the bodies.
Threw my life away for nothing.
After that, Cosmo and Sean both showed up at the DiNardo home in Ben Salem, and according to Sandra, Cosmo's mother, they were in great form. She even texted Vanessa, Sean's mother.
I need a damn minute. What is with you people? Just keep pushing more shit. Hold on. What? Oh my god. Just running over the poor little fucker with the backhoe? That's shit, bro. Well, they sound like they were having fun. I hope they both used their positives to cancel out the negatives, lol. I'm sure you do too, and I think they will. And thank you, Cosmo really needed a friend.
The next day, when the boys were reported missing, Cosmo and Sean returned to the farm to cover their tracks. Cosmo would show the police to Jimmy's body, which was buried on the farm, and due to that and his confession, he avoided the death penalty. He pled guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder, along with additional counts of robbery, abuse of a corpse, conspiracy, possession of instruments of crime, and illegal firearms possession. Cosmo was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences.
Hell yeah.
Without the
He's getting booty clapped for 400 years, bro. Woo!
possibility of parole. Sean was offered a plea bargain first, a mandatory prison sentence of a minimum of 59 years. He turned the prosecutors down, and the case would go to trial. Sean actually wanted the death penalty as he wanted to become notorious. Wow, look at you.
Talk about courtroom drama here in Doylestown. Members of
He just don't want 100 years of booty clapping like that. Oh, poor fucker. Shit.
each of the victims' families were there as Cosmo DiNardo admitted in court that he committed those horrific crimes up in Bucks County last July. Then DiNardo's cousin, as you mentioned, at the last second, rejected a plea deal linked to his alleged role in 3 of those murders. Still, when it comes to Cosmo DiNardo, we now know he will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Unfortunately for him, he didn't get his blaze of glory. Instead, he got a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
Convicted killer Sean Kratz was sentenced today in Bucks County Court to life.
4 lifetimes of booty clapping, 1 lifetime of booty clapping. Either way, it's a lot of booty clapping.
Behind bars. The sentencing closes a grisly murder case that prosecutors have called one of the most horrific days in the county's history.
I'm
The
in a
murderers are now
amazing
behind
mood.
bars. But the story doesn't end there. Wrongful death suits were filed against the DiNardo family.
All of the victims' parents were in tears today, describing life after
Dang.
losing their sons.
Can you do
They
that?
believe more should have been done to prevent the accused killer, Cosmo DiNardo, from getting a gun.
On Monday, the attorneys for the families of Dean Finnecaro, Tom Mayo, and Jimmy Patrick announced wrongful death civil lawsuits against the accused killer Cosmo DiNardo, his parents, and his cousin, Sean Kratz.
See, a big aspect was that the gun used in the killings that Cosmo used, and Dean may have used as well, it was Sandra's gun. So the DiNardos had, negligently provided the weapon. The family insisted that after Cosmo had first been admitted to the mental institution, all guns had been removed from the home, except for the .357, which she kept in a hidden lockbox. In 2020, it was ruled that the parents of Cosmo DiNardo can be held legally responsible under Pennsylvania law for the deadly actions of their son. Another thing was that on, the 7th of July, when 3 murders were carried out, Cosmo tried to reach his dad over the phone multiple times and demanded his dad go to the farm. As it turns out, according to a police report, Antonio did go up to the farm. He was driving up. Antonio had a mistress. She was in the car also. So when Cosmo saw that his dad's mistress was there, he was like, you know what, you can go, actually. It's fine. Because Cosmo wanted his dad to come alone. So, did he have some, would his dad have been killed if he had gone there as well? Alone? Would there be a higher body count? Well, I mean, one thing's for sure, if they hadn't been caught, there certainly would be. Now, the police had no clue about Cosmo's prior involuntary admissions to psychiatric care. There was no database. But there were so many slip-ups in this case, from the over 30 times he had run-ins with the police to the failures to adequately provide him with medical and psychological care. The system failed him for sure, I think. This shouldn't have been allowed to happen. I mean, hindsight, looking back, it's 2020, right? You're always going to see what you missed. But there were so many giveaways in this case, you would think someone should have caught on something.
Coulda,
and should
woulda,
have seen
shoulda.
this coming. Yet, here we are. But, at the end of the day, Cosmo's not the victim here. Dean Finnecaro, Jimmy Patrick, Thomas Mayo, and Mark Sturgis are.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you as always real soon in the next one.
Yes, sir. I really enjoyed today's video. Hell yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, as far as, mass murdering goes, yeah, it was a real good story. If you enjoyed today's story as much as I did, please go down there and leave a like. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange things that just make you wonder, maybe they was right when you was a kid. Maybe weed does kill. Kill 4 kids right there. Maybe if they wasn't smoking, they would have been a little bit smarter about what was going on. I don't know. Oh my God, that's crazy. Like, was he going to kill his dad? Would he, if he thought he could get away with it, would he kill his dad and the mistress? Did he have a problem with his dad and the mistress? Was that like a reason why he was being an ass towards everyone as well? Man, I actually have more questions now than what I did before. I love it when that happens.